Many of you feel like you've been stepped on, you feel like you've been pushed aside, you feel like you've been abandoned, you feel like you've been talked about, you feel like you've been abused, like someone took from you, someone hurt you, somebody took advantage of you, and deep down inside your core, you feel like you've lost some of your value. I am here to tell you that you were created and you're born and you're here and you have life and you have purpose and you have value. And though you've gone through some hard times and though you've experienced some depression and you might be wanting to hurt yourself and you might want to give up, I am here to tell you still got worth and value. And there is nothing that can happen that can take your worth and your value away.
The number one problem that I see when it comes to people not knowing their worth, they let everything outside of them control everything that's inside of them. Their happiness, their joy, their worth is controlled by what surrounds their life. That's dangerous, because when you live life like that, you're depending on something that you can't control to control you. For some of us, it's relationships. For some of us, it's social media. For some of us, it's our job. For some of us, it's our bank account. For some of us, it's how well we do in school. For some of us, it's everything outside of us. And as long as you're dependent on this world to define you, I promise you this, you will always be controlled by this world. And listen, I get it, I know it's hard, but your value can't depend on anything outside of you. Because when it does, you just become a puppet to that puppet master. You know, the puppet master controls the puppet and makes the puppet do whatever. Well, in your life, you probably have puppet masters that's controlling how you feel about yourself. That's controlling how you see yourself. That's controlling your beliefs. That's controlling your values. So the question I want to ask you right now, what does your happiness depend on? It's time to detach your value from those things. Understand you're valuable not because of things that are in your life. You're valuable because God gave you life. What is your self-esteem connected to? Connection is power. So if it's connected to anything outside of yourself, then that thing, that person, that situation has the power to control your life. And that's when you live an up and down emotional life. Life isn't always about becoming. A big part of life is about unbecoming. It's about peeling back those layers of self-judgment, peeling back those layers of shame, peeling back those layers of guilt, and getting back to the core of who you truly are.
You are not your mistakes, you are not your struggles, and you are here now with the power to shape your day and your future. And you've got to be careful about what future it is that you decide to shape. You have to be careful about the thoughts that you let inside your mind. So many people live their life by the law of accident, never grabbing hold of something with intention and deciding that that's what they're going to think about, deciding that these are the thoughts that they're going to allow in their mind, and intentionally rejecting other thoughts. But as Marcus Aurelius says, your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions.
We've become addicted to other people's opinions. We've become addicted to other people's approval. And social media is wonderful, but it's all about how many likes do you get? How many selfies can you take? That may feel good when you get it, but then what it does is it governs your behavior. You begin to only do things to seek other people's approval. And even when you get it, right, it's short term, it doesn't really feel very good, it's not fulfilling. What we really want is not just success, we want fulfillment. The way we get fulfillment is self-respect, is self-confidence. And that's how somehow in your life you must begin to separate what you do from what people think about it. You know this, the people that have really won in life and in business, they eventually drop the addiction to what other people think about them. They're most concerned about what they think about them, or if they're a person of faith, of what their God thinks about them, not the rest of the world. Because the higher you climb, the more haters you're gonna have. There's absolutely no question about it. You ought to hope you have more of them. The only thing I will warn people of is the higher you climb, the closer to you the haters are. So right now, if you're at one level of success, it's people at a distance that are haters. But as you climb higher, there's always the one or two people in your close circle who begin to try to pull you back down because they think you're leaving them. They make you, your success is making them uncomfortable about where they are. And so they begin to do everything they can to pull you back down. So the closer the haters are to you, the even more success you're having.
You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one that you may not even remember to this day. The process of building self-confidence is actually very easy, believe it or not. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you.
Whatever you repeat, you are going to become. If you repeat something empowering, you will become empowered. If you repeat something self-destructive, you will destroy yourself. Decide the things that you're going to pursue mentally, that you decide what you're going to hold on to. And you have to make those decisions based on what you decide you want to become. But it all starts with that. It all starts with knowing what it is exactly that you want to become and recognizing the truth of the way that the human mind works. Once you understand that humans are the ultimate adaptation machine and you understand that the brain actually builds faster and better connections between the things that you think on, you will begin to understand that it is incredibly important to be thoughtful about what you think about. It's incredibly important to pick a direction that you want to grow in, to decide who you want to become, and then make that the center of your focus, your thoughts, your time, your energy. And if you look inward or if you look outward and you don't like what you see, remember what Jim Rohn said. If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. No matter how fake it feels at first, you've got to go down the process of repetition and shaping yourself the way that a sculpture creates that ultimate work of mastery. Piece by piece, bit by bit, day after day with intention, so that you can finally reveal what you want to be. The beautiful thing about being a human, we are so plastic and we can change so dramatically. We are so good at adapting that we forget that's literally what we do. But if you can take control of that process, if you can grab a hold of it and make it your own, if you can make it your daily obsession to make the most of your potential, to pick a very specific direction, to pick an end goal, an end state, an end identity, and work your way backwards, find out the steps that you're going to need to take to get there, to execute, and have the willingness to put in the work, to have the willingness to be both the sculptor and the clay, to understand that the suffering that comes with that, of changing yourself, of making yourself into something great, is a suffering well worth it. It's a suffering that you should embrace. It's a suffering that you should run towards, because in that suffering you can become anything you want. Dwell on a vision of you being great. Dwell on a vision of you accomplishing your goals. Dwell on a vision of you having done this amazing thing that you want to do. Dwell on an image of you being willing to sweat and bend yourself in half and break if need to and bleed when necessary to become the vision of yourself you always knew you could become. But ultimately, it's a choice. Ultimately, at any time, right now, in this moment, you can stop and think about what you have. You can put your attention on the things that you're grateful for and watch what it does. Watch what it does in that instance, the way that it changes you, the way that it changes your chemistry, your feelings in a moment can shift from negative and dark to beautiful, with nothing else changing around you, nothing but you deciding that you're going to focus on the things you're grateful for. Nothing but deciding that there are things in your life to be grateful for. And that is a decision. No matter what is happening in your life at any moment, right now, in the depths of a depression, in something going on terribly in your life, you can choose right now There is an innate skill inside of you that's your spark. It's that starting point. It's that thing that while you may not be the best in the world at it, it's a flame that you can fan. It's something that you can breathe life into and really begin to get good. But first, you have to understand the very nature of progress. At the end of the day, you're going to go as far as you're willing to fight for, and that's it. And if you're willing to fight to go all the way, then you will go that far. You will set a new bar. You will define for people what is possible. So get out there. Don't worry about what you have and what you are. Focus on who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there.